There are questions that you should ask yourself before taking any loan. Most of the people go to the banks and take their loans without even sitting down and thinking about it or asking themselves certain questions which are very critical for before you take any loan. Welcome to my channel. This is Venki Vibes channel and I am your host as always, Venki. What are some of these questions that you should ask yourself before you go and approach your bank to take a loan? The first question that you should ask yourself before approaching your bank to take up that loan is, do you really need that loan? Do you really need that loan? That's one of the questions that you should ask yourself. When you sit down and ask yourself if you really need it, you will be able to come to your true senses and start having that critical thinking, and maybe you will find out there is another way apart from taking that loan, and you'll be able to solve your problem even without taking that loan. The second question that one should ask themselves is, can I afford the total cost of that loan? Because loans don't just come with a principal, it also comes with interest. And it also comes with payments which are made when you delay paying that loan. So you should be able to sit down and ask yourself, can I really afford this loan? Can I really afford the amount that will accumulate with this loan? Because some people, if they don't sit down to think about this, if they can afford it, they will find themselves getting into loans which they will end up being defeated. And if you cannot afford to pay that loan back, please don't take loans if you can't afford to pay it. Another question, the third question that one should ask themselves is, how will you pay it back? How will you be able to pay this loan back? Because if you take a loan, you must pay. How will you pay back? Is it through your salary? Is it through your business profits? Is it through, maybe God will provide, because there are people who will just say God will provide. And these are the people who don't think, because you are taking a loan, you don't have an income that can pay that loan, and then you are like, God will provide, surely. Why are you testing even God? You're testing God by saying you will provide, yet you putting yourself in trouble. When if you sit down, have at least a payment plan. Think before going to take that loan, how will I be able to pay it? And then note down, how will I be able to pay it down? Because when you sit down and think critically of how you will pay it, you will come up with a plan of how you can repay your loan. The fourth question is that you should ask yourself is, what happens if I can't pay in time? What really happens if you can't pay your loan in time? This is something that I've found many people in trouble with their bank loan, with the banks, with the Shylocks, because they did not sit down and think of what would happen if they were not able to pay that loan. Most of the time, you don't ask yourself about things that come, the consequences that come with loans. We have, for example, CRB listing. When you're listed in CRB, what happens? You would be able to access credit from other facilities. Another thing, we have auctioneers who will come to your house and pick your items, which might be even more expensive than the loan itself. We have the shaming that comes with these people who are sent to come and collect that loan. They will be calling the people who you used as guarantors and telling them, ask so and so and so to pay their loans. That comes with a lot of shame. And you should sit down to ask yourself this. It's very important that you ask yourself this question of whatever happens if you don't pay in time. The fifth question is there a cheaper or a slower way of me repaying my loan? You will always have a plan B. One thing you should know is loan is not the ultimate solution to your problems. Maybe you can plan to save a little by little from your income, and you'll be able to get whatever you are planning to buy using that loan. Again, you can also borrow from chamas, which offer low interest rates on loans that you take from the chamas and the merry-go-rounds. You can also plan to maybe, instead of taking that loan, you can also think of maybe, as I said, saving slowly. I also said about borrowing from chamas, and also you can also work extra hours. Some people out here work really hard to get what they have, and you can also sacrifice extra time to work, or even have a part-time job which will help you sort your problems without you involving loans in it. The sixth question that you should ask yourself is this loan making me money or it's costing me money? Well, this might not really be a good question to many people, if I may say, because some people some people think that maybe taking a loan to start a business is that loan will bring them money. Well, it may or it may not, because what happens if you start a business with a loan and the business doesn't thrive and the business doesn't give you any profits? You end up losing. Yeah. And if you're borrowing maybe to get something that is not really important, it's a liability. At least use your loan to get an asset, if at all you have to. It should bring you something. Let the bank not really gain. Yeah. Then the seventh question: what is the interest rate versus my income? You know, the interest rates of some loans are very high, and your income might not really be high. It might be growing very slow. So you should be able to think, is this interest more than I can really afford? And when you ask yourself this question, you'll always have the right solution. And then the eighth question that you should ask yourself is, how long will I be in debt? There are loan apps that put you in a 7-day cycle. You are always in debt, like the Fuliza thing. I know most of Kenyans know the Fuliza thing. That keeps you, anytime you get money, you get money, then you use it again. It's in a cycle. Then you also have banks. Banks keep you in a 7-year cycle. You will be without even knowing. So you should be able to think, if this loan really brings you money, really keeps you in debt or not. And then the ninth question is, and I think it's the last one: who benefits if I don't pay this loan? In this case, most of the banks benefit and you end up losing. Thank you for watching. I will not expound the last point, because definitely you will never win against a loan. Thank you for watching. This is Venky Vibes channel, and as always, I'm your host. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment to our videos. Always remember to put on that notification bell. We will come with more inspiring questions and more enlightening topics for you before taking any loan. Thank you for watching.